Hello everyone, and welcome to the second video on this channel. My name is RJ Mamula. Since the first video, this channel has been renamed. It was initially named Philosophy Forum, but I have since discovered that there is another YouTube channel called Forum on Philosophy, so out of respect and to avoid confusion, I have renamed it Philosophy with RJ Mamula. Philosophy Forum was actually not my first choice for the name. There were several other names that I thought sounded better but were either taken or not very original. So I settled on Philosophy with RJ Mamula. I was hesitant to use my name as part of the name of the channel, because although this is my channel, I intend for it to be democratic in nature. But it is what it is. So, on with the topic. This video's topic is Objectivism and Relativism. In the previous video on skepticism, we discussed the notion that knowledge is not possible, only belief is possible. Objectivism is the notion that beliefs, or at least most beliefs, or I should say some beliefs, are either objectively correct or objectively wrong. For example, if the Earth is round and you believe the Earth is flat, your belief is just wrong. You are mistaken. At the same time, if the Earth actually were flat and you believed it was round, then again, you would just be wrong. Now, relativism is the notion that whether a belief is right or wrong depends entirely on the person holding the belief. An example of a relative belief would be Coke tastes better than Pepsi, or Pepsi tastes better than Coke. Whichever of those beliefs you hold, it would generally be agreed that neither belief is wrong, it is just a matter of personal taste. Now, you might be thinking this is exactly the same as the difference between a fact and an opinion. Well, yes and no. Even an objective opinion could be just an opinion and not a fact, because the definition of a fact is something that can be proven, or has been proven, but not necessarily is proven already. An example of an objective opinion would be O.J. Simpson murdered his wife. Since there's no proof one way or the other on that, then by definition it is an opinion. But when it comes to relative opinions, relative beliefs, all relative beliefs would by definition be just an opinion. Now, there are different degrees of relativism. A relative belief could depend upon the individual holding the belief, or it can depend upon a culture holding the belief. An example of an individually relative belief would be the example I just gave of Coke tasting better than Pepsi, or vice versa. So what about a culturally relative belief? Well, I would argue an example of that would be Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. If you have seen the movie Air, which came out recently, and if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. During the epilogue portion of the movie, a statement appears on the screen saying, Michael Jordan went on to become the greatest basketball player of all time. Now, does everyone agree he is the greatest basketball player of all time? Of course not. And a lot of it depends on what you mean by the greatest. If you're talking in terms of statistics, then no. Michael Jordan is not the all-time leading scorer, and he doesn't hold many other statistical records. But if you're going the route of statistics don't say everything, then you can legitimately argue that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. But I think the proper interpretation of the statement from the movie is Michael Jordan went on to be considered by the basketball culture in general to be the greatest basketball player of all time. In that sense, it is a culturally relative belief. Now, over here, I have my textbook from my college philosophy class. It has this exercise where it gives a list of statements, and your job is not to decide whether or not you agree with the statements, but to decide whether the statement expresses an objective belief, an individually relative belief, or a culturally relative belief. I will read each statement to you, and feel free to put your responses in the comments along with any other comments you may have. So, here we go. The first statement. Asparagus is delicious. Number 2. Picasso's paintings have artistic merit. Number 3. Johann Sebastian Bach is the greatest composer who ever lived. Number 4. The Bible gives us the best account of the purpose of life. Number 5. Abortion is morally wrong regardless of the circumstances. Number 6. The institution of slavery in the United States was morally bad. Number 7. Democracy is the best form of government. Number 8. The earth is more than 1 billion years old. Number 9. The color of your eyes is determined by your genes. And number 10. The earth has been visited by space aliens. Okay. Feel free to put your responses in the comments and any other comments you may have. I look forward to reading them.